Well, welcome back to the Mighty Angel Podcast. I'm your host, Matthew Angel, and each week here we discuss leadership and work, faith and family. So excited to be visiting with you individuals today. and I've just been getting moved into a new place. So the Angel Clan actually completed our move across Texas. We went from the big city to a small town out in West Texas. And so I'm in a new office here. There's a little bit of difference in the sound in this space. I don't have everything up on the walls that I would like to have, but we are so grateful and so thankful for all of the individuals who helped facilitate our move and who we haven't killed each other yet. I'm really acknowledging that people move for all sorts of reasons, right? Not all of them good. There are times when people have divorces, they've been foreclosed on, they've had a death in the family. There's a lot of different reasons why people move. And this was a fantastically good reason for us. And even though it's been really good, it's also been really stressful. And so we're really excited to be in our new place and starting to put down some deep roots in a small town community. Today, before we get started into the episode, a couple of announcements. I am really excited for all of the great episodes that have been coming over the last few weeks. Thank you all for sharing those episodes with friends. I see you guys sharing that on social media. It really can be helpful to share an individual episode with someone that you find valuable to you. So if they had some particular pearls of wisdom about work, about leading a family well, and parenting, whether it's young kids or older kids, if you find things helpful and someone springs to mind, share it with a friend. This podcast doesn't grow without you guys doing that. There's not some fancy algorithm making it show up in people's feeds or big advertising bucks or something like that. So thank you guys for sharing it. It really truly does help. And again, you can shoot me a line anytime at matthew@mightyangelpodcast.com. I love hearing from you guys, even if it's just a real quick thing. That helps me. Encourages me to keep doing these talks for you guys and keep finding guests that hopefully make you better in your work, family, and faith. So let's go ahead and get started with the episode. Today, we're going to be talking about routines. And I did a little bit of research. When I say research, that's a Google search about how many decisions we make in a given day. So various sources around the internet, as well as one-sided paper, said that we have about 35,000 decisions are made each and every day. By contrast, children make only about 3,000 decisions a day. So they're a lot more on instinct and on autopilot. But as an adult, all of these decisions that you make really do start to pile up. You look at, what time should I wake up? Should I get out of bed or should I hit the snooze button? Should I have coffee with cream or coffee with sugar? Where should I go? Which is the route that I'm going to take on my commute? There's a lot of different decisions that you make over and over and over again. Now, what your brain does is it actually starts to automate some of those decisions ahead of time. We call them routines. Routines is whenever your brain has made a decision prior and has put that down as something that is good and worthy. I don't think about whether I'm going to put sugar in my coffee or not. I just put one spoonful of sugar in my coffee because I made that decision some time ago. I'm also, while I am deciding to have a cup, I'm not really thinking through, how to make the Keurig go. So what I had been noticing is that since the shut-in time and we came home to work from home full time, by the time I got fully logged into my job and I'm at work, I was exhausted. I'm tired before I even start my workday. Well, the routines that I had in place were no longer there. So I had a routine of taking my daughter to school at 7 o'clock is when we had to be out the door. And that allowed me to get her to school and myself through the traffic to work by a certain period of time. We didn't really argue or decide what we're going to do. We needed to leave by 7. That was a decision that was made ahead of time. And a whole bunch of decisions get made that way. What are you going to wear in the morning? Well, used to, Monday through Thursday, slacks and a button up. I didn't really think about it. And now I'm like, well, what do I have any video conferences today? Are we going anywhere? Can I get away with sweatpants? How many times have I worn that same pair of pants? Should I wash them? Yeah, probably so. Do I stay? I mean, like, there's a lot of decisions that I used to not make. And I think that's also why people enjoy Casual Friday, right? The place that I work, Casual Friday, people wear a red shirt to support the troops and jeans. Well, I think people like that because I don't have to make that decision. It's made for me in advance, jeans and a red shirt. So routines can truly, truly help you to make fewer decisions. Now, I know we live in a world where it is espoused that having choice and free will is an amazing thing, right? I can customize my order when I go out to eat. I can customize how I buy something. I want it my way, right away. I want 87 different choices. Sometimes, well, we think that that's always the best thing, and that's not necessarily it. You ever been to a restaurant that has a ginormous menu with like 87 things on it, and the waiter's coming over trying to get you to order, and you're like, where do I go? Well, that's having too many choices. A lot of fast food chains, when you go through and you actually look at their menu, they have like 1 through 8. They have like 8 choices. And you look on the side, there's not really anything else other than those. And really, there's only like 3 or 4 or 5 that people actually order. So, limiting your choices can be helpful to save your mental energy for the things that actually matter. Now, the other thing that can happen is having fewer choices can actually allow you to pre-decide on some things that are really important to you that you maybe have been putting off. We're going to talk about that too a little bit later on. All right, so let's just enough of the setup, and we'll just kind of dive right in on how you can start setting up your own routines. Now, you may be driving or walking when you hear this, but the homework for you is to actually do this, like write some things down. We're going to walk through the steps to really set a morning and evening routine, as well as some of the things, tips and tricks on how you can actually make this better and how you can deploy it in your life. So number one, don't worry about making it all fit right away. Okay, we're not going to look at each individual moment of time, and we're just going to kind of get down the things that might need to be in your morning routine. So step one is to get all that together, and there's a couple of different ways we're going to do that. So one, we're going to start with the basics. You're going to look at what do you have to do every single morning, right? You know what I'm talking about, all right? So you wake up in the morning, you take care of your bio business, you brush your teeth, maybe you're making coffee, making breakfast. These are the things that you're going to do every single morning. Then you start writing out some of the what I'll call semi-routines. These are things that you don't necessarily do every day. This might be working out. Maybe you work out a couple of days a week. Shaving for some of you guys out there is not a daily occurrence. So I have a beard, and so I do shave the neck to kind of keep it clean. And what I was finding is in the morning when I'm kind of halfway asleep, I'm like, ugh, do I need to shave today? Can I get away? When is the last time? I don't know when the last time was. Well, what I did in my routines is I kind of thought through my week and said, well, Sunday morning church, maybe I'll make sure I'm clean for Sunday morning church. And I only really need to shave the neck with the beard. I only really need to do that every other day. So what is that? Shave Sunday, Tuesday, Thursday. Let Saturday be a little bit longer than usual. Well, that decision is now made in the mornings. After I brush my teeth and I think, do I need to shave? Well, the decision has already been made before. If it's Tuesday, get your razor out, bud, and get going. That can help save some of your mental bandwidth for later on in the day. And then after you've done those routines, those basics and those semi-routines, things that you want to do some of the time, You want to write out on your paper or in your note on your phone, what are the ideals? So the ideal things, again, this may not all fit later. We're gonna see how we're gonna do that step here in a second. But we want to put in the things that are ideal that you really want to do. This may be spending some quiet time with God. Say, I don't know, I want to have 30 minutes that I'm reading the Word and getting prayers in. I know that is tremendously impactful to my mental health and my soul when I do that regularly. When I don't do that regularly, I start to, just things start to degrade. I don't know another way to put it. Other of you may have some big life goals, things that you want to work on. You want to write a book. You've got a project that you want to do. Maybe you're looking to spend some more active time with your kids, throwing a ball, things like that. This could be a morning activity, could be an evening activity. You're just looking for things that are ideal, things that you are wanting to do. Maybe you're doing a little bit of it, but you want to have that in place in your routines. For Matthew, I like to have a walk in the morning. It helps my sanity. So I put in there, hey, take a walk and have quiet time with God. So you got all these things written down. You've got a list of things you got to do. You got a list of things that are semi-regular, and you have some things that are ideal. What you want to do next is figure out a wake-up time. So what would that be? Step 4 is figure out your wake-up time. So one, start with the basics. 2, semi-routines. 3 is the ideal. Step 4, figure out your wake-up time. Now, some of you guys are really regimented on when you wake up. Some of you are not. I know that during the COVID shut-in time, it kind of dawned on me that I can kind of wake up whenever I want to. and it's not so much like how late you sleep. There was a lot of variability in when I was waking up. So there was a lot of variability in what actually got accomplished every day. And so setting a time that you're going to try to wake up really can be helpful. And then start trying to fit in all these routines. Now, we're not looking for minute-by-minute blocks. That's ridiculous. I'm not going to do 1 to 2 minutes brushing teeth, 2 to 10 minutes bio break. No, we're not going to do that. Just get a block and say, morning bathroom routines, 15 minutes. Lump them all together. So give yourself a little bit of grace on the blocks of time. You're not trying to be the Gestapo here, right? You really just want to have a set block of time and try to fit in when you're going to wake up. Now, you may find as you write down all of your routines, the things that you want to do, you don't really have time to do it based on when you're waking up. This is probably why you feel harried in the morning or listless, because you're trying to do multiple things and there's not really time to do it comfortably. So you may need to wake up a little bit earlier. I know that I found for our family, our family works a lot better if Dad wakes up before everyone else and tries to get some of these things done on my own, as well as it allows for a little bit of freedom for if and when kids wake up earlier than usual. And so waking up, Matthew's start time was 6 plus a snooze, 6:15. Once I did this routines exercise, I looked at, what? I actually need to get up at 5:50. That extra 10 minutes and not snoozing makes a difference. Now, once you've figured out your morning wake-up time, then step 5 is to calculate back if that time is actually realistic based on your family and your life, okay? If I am going to be waking up at 5:50, but because of my life, we don't really go to bed realistically till 11:30 or 12 midnight, that's probably not going to work, right? You can flex a little bit and get less sleep or more sleep, but not as a routine. So calculate when approximately you need to go to sleep. You know how much sleep you need to not be a grumpy and whiny mess. Typically, everybody says you need more sleep than you think, but have something that's realistic. For me, it was really dawned on me that if I'm going to be waking up at 5:50, I need to be asleep by 10:30 at night. And sometimes we stay up later than that. So 10:30 at night was lights out. Now, how do you get to that? Well, step 6 is to attack the evening routine. Now, a lot of you may have not ever really thought about an evening routine. I certainly didn't forever and ever. I thought, well, we kind of just do whatever we do in the afternoon. We let the activities of the day drive that end portion of the day, and then, just do whatever until we go to bed. We have a kid's bedtime goal, but that was largely it. But what I found is that even though we didn't have an intentional routine in place, there were rhythms of our life that we're doing every evening. And for the evening time, that for us was like get the kids in bed, then they get up, and then you get them in bed, and then they get up, and you pull your hair out. We have a little bit of time together for myself and my spouse, and then towards the end, we watch Netflix for maybe an hour or two, depending on how long that takes, play on our phones for a little bit, and then maybe read and go to sleep. Again, we had a routine. There just was no intentionality to it. And there was a lot of variability as well on when we would actually go to bed. So there was a lot of variability in the morning too. Again, all of this contributes to decision fatigue because you're making all of these decisions every single day. Should we watch another show or not? Well, I kind of want to. It'd be kind of nice. But if you have in your routine, no, I really need to try to go to sleep by 10:30. So in order to be healthy, probably no screens by 10. That's probably reasonable. So if it's 9:50 and we end the show and we're like, okay, shut it off, right? Lights out. Lights out's coming here in 30 minutes. So having that decision made ahead of time can really give you a lot of, a little bit more peace in your evening. Now, I don't try to script it out hard nose on the blocks as we mentioned earlier. So I just kind of worked backwards from trying to go to bed at 10:30 and say, well, I want to spend some time with my wife. I want to try to get kids in bed. And we have found that it's not a hard and fast rule, but it's a milestone. We're trying to get everybody in bed by around 8 o'clock. Now, our kids are different ages, and so their bedtime changes as they grow, right? Their needs to have a nap during the day or what time they need to go to bed. But we found that when we let our kids stay up really late, then that shrinks the window of time that I have with my spouse. And it also shrinks the amount of time that we have good quality interactions with our kids. When they get late and tired, they're not as fun to be around. And I guess neither am I. So we found that whenever we get started around 7-ish is whenever we start their bedtime routines. That's taking a bath, getting PJs on, a little snack maybe, and reading books. That helps us get them actually down in bed by 8. Now again, we're not hard and fast on this. Sometimes our kids go to bed later or earlier than that. But we know in our brains, if it's 7 or 7:15 or 7:30 and we haven't started kids' bedtime, we need to get cracking on it. It can really, really help. So that's really that final point. 7 is don't overdo it minute by minute. Use those rough time frames and big milestones. I actually put in my morning to have what I call allowance for crazy. To have a 45-minute block of time in there where I don't have anything planned in the routine, but I do know that, well, that's just our life in the morning, right? Things are going to get eaten away on the time, and allowing for a little bit of crazy in there is perfectly fine. Again, you're not hard and fast rules, and you're going to update this routine over time, okay? So I have a big milestone of trying to get logged in for work by 8:30 in the morning, all right? And so I'm going to actually share the routine that I have in the show notes. That'll be in the show notes at the end, and you can actually see the things that I'm trying to get done in the morning and in the evening. And so your call to action is to do this yourself, right? So pull out your phone and pull out a notepad on your phone or a piece of paper and just start jotting down these 7 steps, right? So 1, start with the basics. 2, add in the semi-routines that aren't every single day. 3, pull across all the ideal things. 4, figure out your wake-up time. 5, calculate back to see if that's realistic for a bedtime. And then really attack number 6 is those evening routines, and number 7, not overdoing it minute by minute. I know a lot of things have calls to action, and I'm the world's worst of being like, oh, yeah, that sounds good. I'm going to do that. Like, actually do it. And it's okay for it to be, really rough and not that great. Don't let perfect be the enemy of okay in this regard. Final tip and note, after you get this routine in place, you want to make sure that you communicate with your spouse and the people that are in your household. If you're the type of nerd that wants to actually write out your routines like me, you likely are married to somebody that is not that way, okay? So if the person that you're talking to is not the routine scripter outer type person, then only pick like one or two things that you maybe need help with, okay? For me, with my spouse, it was that screens off time frame. I told her, I said, hey, I've been kind of discombobulated in the morning. When I'm getting to work, I'm just not quite where I need to be from a routine standpoint. So what I'm trying to do is put a little more rigor in the morning. And in order to do that, I need some help going to bed at night. So the goal is to have lights out by 10:30. But really what I need your help with is at 10 o'clock, screens off. Do you think that's reasonable for us to turn TV or phones off? Anything that we might be doing together. And she's like, yeah, sure, that'll work. And your spouse may actually have better ideas in place. They'll surprise you sometimes and say, yeah, I've noticed you've been a bear to be around. You really need to get outside for 30 minutes in the morning, get your walk in, get your time with God, because I have a better spouse whenever you return. So include your spouse or the significant people in your family that this routine might impact. Again, set this time frame for maybe, the next 3 or 4 weeks. And then look at your routine again. See if it's working. See if it's not working. If it's not working, dump it out. If it's too stringent, then you may need to widen those time blocks and allow for more things inside of there. If you find yourself not following it at all, maybe you need to be a little more rigid. So this is something you can adjust over time to make sure it is adding value to your life. What I've found since I put this in, I've been a lot more focused and ready to work in the morning, and we are not perfect at it all. So I just encourage you guys, as we do these talks, to put something into action. My goal here is really to help improve your life at work, in your family, and in your faith. Over the next couple of weeks, we'll have a few more of these talks, and I will be wrapping up season 2 of the show. I'm going to take a couple of weeks off and get some guests lined up for a completely different theme in season 3. We've been talking about wisdom in season 2. We'll do something different in season 3. But all of these talks, again, are really here to help make your life just a tiny bit better for having listened. So thanks so much for listening in, and have a great day.